All right. As soon as I hit live, it's going to start streaming. So we'll just jump right in and just follow my lead.
Okay. I'm so glad that you're feeling lighter. It's interesting, that term lighter is the one that I hear most often.
It comes up a lot, I'll bet.
It does.
Well, friends, we are live and I am thrilled that I am not the speaker today. I actually am so honored and touched, moved and inspired to introduce you to a woman who has become, I don't like to say mother figure because that sounds so matriarchish, but I and it's so much older than what I want to say. She's been like my best friend. And Angeline has coached me in a couple of different ways over the last 10, 12 years. And just today, we had a session and I feel lighter. We were just talking about that. And if you have any issues with relationships, with setting boundaries, with knowing how to say what you mean and mean what you say, and just know the real secret to success, that's what we're here to talk about today. Angeline, you can take it from here and I am going to be the support. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to try to monitor Facebook, but you can also come in and see us on Zoom. If you go to camiszoom.com, password 1128, you can come on in and have a little chat with us too. I'll put all that in the comments. Angeline, take it away.
Okay, so do you want me to just start with the slides series that I have for you, or oops.
Sorry. I'd love for you to introduce yourself just a little bit. Tell everybody a little bit about your background, unless that's already in your slides.
It is in the slides.
Okay, take it away.
All right, so Cami asked me if I would do a presentation for her group, and I thought about, she's a businesswoman, and a lot of her following are business people also, business women and men. And what I'm finding is people are struggling a lot these days. How do you build your business? I mean, things that all the rules have changed so much, and there's things online, and now there's this chat GPT, and there's AI, and there's all this, and are you supposed to do social media or not? All these things. And I thought, well, I'll just make it easy. I'll just make it simple, and I will share with you the real secret to success. It's all those different things that I just listed. You can add to, you can use all those things, but there's one central thing that is the real secret to success. So let me see if I can get it to show the slide deck that I have ready for you. So I want to share screen, this one right here, share, and I want to go to slideshow. Okay, so the real secret to success. I wonder what you might think it is. Some of you might want to put something in the chat. What do you think it could be? And I'm going to go ahead and just tell you. Relationships. Relationships are the secret to success in all areas. And I'm going to explain that so that it makes sense to you. So the skills that I share as a coach with my clients will actually work in any area of life, but it's my belief that relationships are the absolute foundation. So for instance, if your relationships are difficult and unsatisfying, it has been proven that it will have a negative effect on your health. And if you are great at building positive and healthy relationships, it will have a positive effect on your career and finances. So as coaches, my husband and I, he's my partner, my team member, we focus on relationships. So how love and relationships are about love, not just romantic and intimate relationships, but the relationships you have with your clients, the relationships you have with your neighbors, the relationships you have with your family. All of them really are based on love. And so how love functions or doesn't function in your life can bring great insight into what in the world is happening in the other areas of your life. And the first thing I want to tell you about is a study that was done at Harvard. It started over 80 years ago, actually when John F. Kennedy was in Harvard at that time. And the goal of this study was to find out what are the key factors that are shortening men's lives. And they expected that it would be cigarettes and alcohol. Those are the big issues at that time. This study is now in its fourth generation. They have expanded it to include not just men, but men's spouses and children, all the way down into the fourth generation. So they have a great deal of data. And what they've discovered is that the thing which has the greatest impact on your ability to thrive, so be healthy and live long, which is actually two things. You can live a long life and have it be crap. You want it to be thriving and live a long life. And what is it? The quality of your relationships. A lack of relationships or poor quality relationships actually has as much negative effect on your health as a habit of cigarette smoking a pack a day. So they also, as part of this, discovered the negative effect that loneliness is having. And we have kind of an epidemic of loneliness in the world, and particularly in the United States, where we think we have all these connections. I have 1,000 friends on my Facebook, and I actually have almost 5,000. But we have all these things that we think we're connected, but we're not. And so we have an illusion of connection, an illusion of quality, just because we have so many likes and people respond to our posts and things like that. That's not the same as quality. That's not the same as real connection. And just to back all that up, Dr. Dean Ornish, who is a cardiologist, he's the one who discovered that heart disease could be reversed. He proved it to the point that insurance companies will even cover the medical work to be able to overcome heart disease. Now, here's what's interesting. My husband has heart disease. We went to hear Dr. Ornish speak, and he has his own clinic, his own facility in San Francisco. And he said in the speech that we heard him give that there are 5 things that make a difference in your health, and particularly in your heart health. But he said the press only talks about 2 of them. Can you guess which 2? Diet and exercise. That's all they talk about. But he said that the other 3 are equally as important. And these other 3 are quality relationships, connection with the community, and an opportunity to give back. And he had people literally who came to his clinic for they needed to turn things around because they had serious heart disease, refused to do anything but diet and exercise, and died an early death. It's absolutely, you need connection. We are human beings. We are hardwired to connect with other people. We are hardwired to bond with other people. So it's a proven fact that the quality, not just having a bunch of negative relationships, but the quality of your relationships, your ability to be able to handle relationships will affect your health.
Well, let me just say that the insurance companies should then be paying for matchmaking services, because online dating is the worst thing for your health ever. I'm just going to throw that right out there.
Okay, that might be something you might want to bring up with some of the health insurance companies. So secondly, so we know that absolutely the quality of relationships affect your health. Well, how about your wealth? What about that? I've got an interesting question for you. Who makes more money, single or married men?
Well, I've seen your presentation, so I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag.
So my first thought would have been, well, single men, of course. They're not being distracted by family. They're able to focus, laser focus directly on building their career, moving up the ladder and everything. Well, the truth is married men make more than single men. So it's actually documented that a happier couple's finances are both more stable and more likely to increase. Married men average higher incomes than single men. And if you want to improve your relationship skills, your health and wealth will also improve. So to some extent, you can say, okay, this is obvious. If I have good relationship skills, I'm going to be better at sales. I'm going to be better at customer service. I'm going to be better at connecting and expanding my network of potential clients. That's absolutely true. If you have these skills and the skills for good sales and the skills for good family relationships and the skills for to build your heart health are all the same. They're all, and I'm going to show you what some of those are. So let me start with, here's my honey. Dixon and I have been married over 30 years, second marriage for both of us. We both failed at our first marriage, which we learned a lot from that. Then we spent a lot of time and money getting a lot of training on how to do better. Together, we have many years of coaching experience and over 1,000 hours of training. We are both trained and master certified in 5 modalities that are internationally recognized, including NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, and second-level Reiki energy work. In addition, I am trained in ICF, which is International Coaching Foundation Methods. Our book, Gorillas Make Great Lovers, qualified as an Amazon bestseller. And actually, at the end of this presentation, I'll give you a way that you can get that book. It's just under $12 on Amazon, but I'll tell you a way to get it for $4.95. But anyway, we have been authors and published in several magazines. We have been speakers on numerous stages and guests on multiple radio shows and podcasts. And if you have a radio show or a podcast that you would like us to be on, we would be delighted to be on. So most importantly, as I mentioned earlier, we have a successful marriage of over 30 years. And when I say successful, I don't mean we've managed to just hang in there. I mean, we really get along well. My favorite word is even though we are in our 70s, our marriage is still juicy. And I mean that. I mean that in all seriousness. Our marriage is still juicy. We adore each other. We love being together. And that doesn't mean it was easy. That some people look at us and they say, well, you were probably soulmates. You were meant to get together. I don't think so. He is not my type. And in fact, if you want to know about the 12 different types of men, you can go to our website and take a quiz and find out which manimal type your guy is, or men you can find out for yourself. That website is relationshipmaster.com. And there's also a really fun little video there on our homepage where the two of us talk about his background and my background, and it is not a match. Our marriage is successful because of the skills we have learned and that we use. It isn't just a matter of learning something, you need to implement them. And we implement the skills that we've learned. And they're relatively easy, but you need to practice them to make them work. So we share about ourselves not to impress you, but to impress upon you. If we can do it, believe me, so can you.
And that's a fabulous quiz. I've taken it 40 or 50 times now because of our work together. And
Yes.
you know, I go in and do the quiz even for my dad and my brother, and so there was a lot of times taking that quiz. Very interesting.
It is. It's a fun quiz, and it will give you new insights about men and how to work easier with them. So I'll just let you know ahead of time at the end of this presentation, I'm going to tell you about our relationship masterclass and how you can work more with us if you'd like to. And that masterclass is $397. So I'm just preparing you ahead of time. All right. So with Dixon and I, a good deal of the work that we do is with the conscious and unconscious mind. I remember hearing years ago that our unconscious makes 90% of our decisions. And I thought, that's nuts. I don't believe that. I think for myself. I figure things out. What do you mean my unconscious is running my life? I just didn't believe that. Well, I'll give you a little story just to show what I mean as an example. So imagine last night after work, you were driving home. And you're thinking, that's your conscious mind. You're thinking about the things your boss had to say that day, the new assignments that you have. There's a rattle in your car that needs some repair. Maybe you have children and you've got a daughter who has a camping event coming up. So your mind is thinking about all these things. And when you get home, your spouse says to you, so did you hear about that accident down on such and such? Which route did you come home? And you start thinking, you know what? I don't even remember which route I drove home. Because it's your unconscious mind was your chauffeur. Your unconscious mind literally drove you home while your conscious mind was thinking about all these other things. Well, that's kind of a handy thing if your unconscious can be your chauffeur, because the number one prime directive of your unconscious mind is your safety. And so it's always looking out for you. But there are some caveats to that, some problems that are created if your conscious mind and your unconscious mind are not aligned. You need the two of them to be working together to be able to get you to achieve the things you want to achieve. So, is this making sense? I hope this is starting to make sense to you.
I love that picture. It really says it all with the iceberg.
With the iceberg, yeah, that is actually Freud, way back when, is the one who said that your unconscious was 90% of what's going on. They actually, some studies say that we function at only 5% of our ability. So if we can align our conscious and unconscious, we can increase our capability for success. Now, what I want to show you with this particular slide is we set our goals with our conscious mind. So we see this arrow going straight forward. This is what I want to achieve. Whether I want it to be, I want more sales in my business. I want more romance in my relationship. I want to lose weight. Whatever, we set our goals consciously. But it's our unconscious that gets the goals. And so if your conscious and your unconscious are not aligned, the unconscious always, 100% of the time wins. And it will take you off to what your unconscious believes is best for you. So, wouldn't it be handy to know what's in your unconscious mind? What in the world is your unconscious mind thinking that might be at conflict with what your conscious mind says? So I'm going to give you another story. So your unconscious mind does not care about your conscious goals. It's your unconscious mind that will get or block the goals you set. So here's an example. Imagine a combat veteran home from Afghanistan. He's at a barbecue, just a neighborhood barbecue. It's a perfectly safe place to be when unexpectedly someone sets off a firecracker. Immediately, the veteran dives onto the hard cement under a nearby truck. His reaction was not conscious. In a perfectly safe setting at a barbecue, due to the trauma of war, he felt without thinking that his life was in danger, and his unconscious mind wanted to protect him. Again, when there's a conflict between the conscious and the unconscious always wins. Consciously, the veteran just wanted to get a hamburger. The unconscious mind does not care about your conscious goal. The firecracker went off, and the soldier's conscious desire for a hamburger was immediately forgotten as his unconscious took over and focused solely on what it believed to be his very survival. So there's a difference in severity here. We have the drive home where it's your conscious and your unconscious. And on the drive home, your conscious and unconscious were aligned. You were just trying to get home. And yet each of these different examples, this one with the soldier, have varying degrees of severity, and each carries its own set of unconscious personal fears and traumas. And they can vary to a great extent. And so it isn't just, you may say to yourself, well, I don't have any traumas. I wasn't in the war. I don't have anything like that. I'll tell you right now, everybody has traumas. Everybody has traumas. And here's the clue. so that you can know whether or not you have traumas or limiting decisions blocking you. Whenever you are not attracting, not achieving the results you want, something is out of alignment. Something in your unconscious is blocking you. I want to repeat that. Whenever you're not attracting the results you want, whether it's losing weight or earning more money or getting more boyfriends or whatever, whenever you are not attracting, not achieving what you've been trying to achieve, something is out of alignment. Something in your unconscious is blocking you. Something is sabotaging you. So you need to be able to find out what that is so that you can release that that's sabotaging you. And then you'll find it's much easier to move toward your goals in relationships, health, and wealth. You'll feel more free, lighter, and confident. And your self-esteem goes up. You feel empowered. I hope this is making sense. Cami, if people are asking questions, let me know what the questions are. Because this is for finding paths to achieve more success in your life. This is basic 101. You really need to understand the difference between your conscious and your unconscious and how they might be conflicted with each other. So we've given you one tool, understanding your conscious and unconscious, and we need to align the two. I'm going to give you a second tool. And I've also given you the clue for how to tell whether you're aligned or not. It's based on what are the results you're getting. Is it working? If it's not working, something's out of alignment. So here's the second tool. But we're going to take this a little bit deeper. What we see in others is based entirely on what's inside of us. Now, first time I heard that, I thought that was nuts too. What do you mean? I can see those people. I can see how they're acting. That's their behavior. That's got nothing to do with me. But if we don't have it inside ourselves, we won't see it in others. And I thought, wait a second, that doesn't make sense either. So, for example, if you perceive someone else as selfish and stingy, then somewhere inside you is some selfishness and stinginess. You feel those things to some degree in some context, maybe not exactly the same degree and context that you see it in another, but most likely in some way, you are being selfish and stingy to yourself. When you recognize in yourself, you can stop doing it to yourself. And the amazing thing is when you release it in yourself, the other person now seems less selfish too. Now, I'm going to give you an example of that just to explain it. I have an example right of that. Right. No, I'm going to let that go. So that can seem impossible, but I've seen it happen over and over again. And it's said, here's the little phrase, if you spot it, you've got it. And you can release it once you recognize it. Okay, now I remember the thought that I have. So when Dix and I are watching a movie, I have almost 30 years interior design background. He spent over 30 years restoring cars. When we're watching a movie, I talked to him actually this morning. You want to know I have to watch a movie with me. You can't handle the talking because I talk to the movies. And I'll be saying to him, did you see that wallpaper? I really like that wallpaper. Wait a second, you know, we could use a lamp just like that one in our bedroom. Well, oh, hey, did you catch? And I'm constantly talking about the interior design things. He's not paying any attention at all to that. Instead, he's going, that was just a 57 T-bird that went by. Oh, did you see that Woody? I worked on a Woody. And so we are seeing different things. We are noticing different things. We are aware of different things because of what's inside us. The movie's the same. We're both watching the same movie. But what I notice, what I see, what he notices and what he sees is dependent entirely on what's inside our own head. And the same thing is true emotionally. If I see a woman who has her arms folded across in front of her, I may think she's cold. He may think she's blocking. It's different ways that we perceive other people. And the thing of it is, if you can release what's inside you, what's holding you back in your perceptions, because it's inside you. And so if you have negatives inside you, like maybe, let's say that you have a belief that negative things are going to happen. The world is a hostile place. And so your mind immediately goes to worst case scenarios. If that's what's inside you, you will see worst case scenarios. You will see that outside, and it will be evidence. See, there's proof. I just saw that person just tried to run off with this or that or whatever, because that's what's in you. If on the other hand, if what's in you is a belief in best case scenario, you will see that, and it will be evidence for you that that is the way the world works. So would you rather have a belief that the world is a good place and go looking for good things, or would you rather, or maybe you think that's naive, maybe you think that's silly, that's foolish, and it would be dumb to believe in good things. If you believe in happier potential, it doesn't mean you have to be naive, it doesn't mean you have to be blind, but it means you will be open to possibilities, open to opportunities. You will catch the possibilities that are out there to build your business. You will notice things that people who have a worst case scenario mindset don't even see because they don't believe it's possible. So it's important for you to be able to find out what is in your head. I'm going to give you another example.
This actually reminds me, Angeline, of the exercise you had Alan and I do, where we were talking about the same restaurant, and he was talking about the ambiance and how beautiful it was, and the scenery out on the beach, and the aesthetics. And all I could think about was that yummy fish taco. You know, and understanding that how people can see things differently. And it's a simple, silly example, but it does prove a point to understand that people don't see everything the way you see it.
Yes, we really, really see, and it's dependent on what's in our own mind. And we see things entirely different. I can walk into a restaurant. Let's say that I'm a cop. And I like to read cop stories, so that comes to mind. Let's say that I'm a cop and I walk into a restaurant. I may immediately, because of my training, what's in my head, be looking around to see, okay, is there trouble in here? Is anybody looking at, to start any kind of trouble? Is there, where's the nearest exit? How am I going to get out if there's a problem? And maybe, on the other hand, the friend that I'm with has no experience in that at all. And she's just had a lovely life, and everywhere she goes, everybody is friends and happy. And so she's just literally experiencing an entirely different experience of being in that restaurant. We literally take with us our experience. We create our experience moment to moment. So, like this picture, it's as though we all have a unique set of glasses. The color of our glasses is based on our unique filters. We constantly filter what we see, what we hear, and what we feel. Each person, therefore, perceives the world differently. And this is why after an accident, you can have 5 different people describe what happened, and they're all saying, oh, no, he hit, his car hit hers. No, her car hit his. No, the guy was a blonde. No, the guy was a brunette. No, he was 5'5". No, he was 5'10". All these different things because of our perception. We perceive based on what's inside of us. So here's an example. That's my wallpaper example of that watching the movie I have right here. So I already talked about that. So literally, it's as though we all carry our own pair of sunglasses, and the world is colored by our beliefs, our limiting beliefs, which our beliefs were created usually, according to most studies, by the time we were 7 years old. We have our belief of what the world is going to be like, what we're going to experience, and we're constantly re-emphasizing to ourselves, see, that's true, this is the way it is, I just saw such and such, I just thought of that because it's true, this is the proof. And so it can be challenging for us to shift from our belief set. And in fact, change is very difficult for most people. Our unconscious mind wants to believe, I know how the world goes, I know what's going to happen, and I know what it takes to be safe. And the unconscious mind believes that safe is familiar. So if you start telling your unconscious mind, I want to expand my ability to get better sales. I want to expand I'm going to go take some classes. And in these classes, they're teaching you some new concepts, and your mind is going, I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe that. The ability to change and see something differently is very challenging for your unconscious mind. That's where we all struggle with it. And so I'm giving you concepts right now that may greatly change your perception of the world and how you want to deal with it. And so this one of the projector in your head, the sunglasses, that's the second tool that I'm giving you. But I'm going to give you another little piece of it here. And it goes like this. We project our thoughts and judgments onto others. Therefore, everyone is a mirror to what's inside us. When you go to the bistro to get your morning coffee, you can do a quick check about yourself by noticing how you see the barista treating you. When you see her as being cranky and unfriendly, ask yourself, in what ways are you feeling cranky and unfriendly? Someone else might just see her as being tired, maybe because they feel tired. And so that's what they're seeing on the other person. So when you see someone else's behavior, ask yourself, in what way is that a mirror for me? As you interact with anyone to a surprising extent, you can control, wouldn't it be great to have control, the energy of the conversation by making a choice about your own energy and projections. When you see something negative in someone else, use it to raise your awareness and check inside yourself to see if there is something that you could release. Do you have a negative that you're carrying that you could let go of? And that would open up your ability to communicate and connect with this person better. Look inside yourself and see what you're perceiving. Okay, so next tool. This is a vibration chart showing how energy can move from a low vibration, such as shame or guilt, up to peace and joy. Everything that most of us want in our lives is shown on the upper portion of this chart. Everyone is made of energy, and each of us vibrates at a different level. Our energy level can shift all during the day, depending on situations and our own mindset. So have you ever heard someone suggest that you can tell whether or not to trust someone based on how animals react to them? If the dogs like to think they're trustworthy, maybe that means that they're trustworthy. Well, the dog reads energy. You also read energy. The dog reads fear on the low end of the chart. He can also read the higher vibrations. Your unconscious mind automatically, without your awareness, reads the energy of people around you. Sometimes when your gut tells you not to trust someone, it's an energy read. Here's another way of checking in with your own intuition. When you're considering options, go with the option that vibrates higher. If you stop and check, ask yourself, you can actually feel the difference. So you may be thinking, well, let's see, should I take that job or should I go to that job? Which one vibrates higher? Some people tell me that they look for which one they see more light rather than darkness. Different ways of reading the energy. But you literally, our bodies are energy, all the time, vibrating all the time. And you can check with yourself and say, well, if I'm in a crappy mood and I've got all this negative energy, I'm not going to be able to get very good sales today. So I need to change that energy. Well, how do you do that? So when you are in a low vibration, you are usually in victim mode, victim mindset. Your energy flow decreases and your resistance increases. You could think of resistance as an argument with what's happening in your life. You are out of alignment with your values, or perhaps a boundary is being threatened. You are disconnected from your intuition and you don't see options for possible inspired actions. Your view of the world and how to handle it is limited. So shifting from victim to victor will raise your vibration. Energetically, you want to raise your vibration and connect with higher, more positive energy levels. Again, one of the quickest ways to do that, and you've heard this many times, I'm sure, is to get into gratitude. That attitude of gratitude. So are you starting to see how these different concepts are interconnected?
Well, let me just give a shout out because earlier today, I was in a very low vibration during our call. And you talked about how so much of our mindset and perspective is shaped before we're 7. And you and I went back to a time when I was about 4 and did some timeline therapy. And man, I feel like a whole different person. I just want to give that shout out to you. What a great job you did with that.
Thank you. And timeline therapy is a wonderful tool. It's one of the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming tools that I learned. And Dixon also, we both have master level training in that. And it's a wonderful tool. It's what's really interesting to me about timeline therapy is our limiting decisions, our limiting beliefs about ourselves and about the world is that they happen in an instant. And instead of going through 12 years of therapy to talk about, think about, talk about, and everything, you can literally release them in an instant too, which is just miraculously wonderful, but it happens. I do it with clients all the time. So at a higher vibration, your energy increases and your resistance decreases. You are in victor mode and connected to your intuition. And if you can imagine what it's like to connect your intuition is full of ideas. It's full of options. It's rich with potential. And so when you're in victim mode and your energy is low, you don't believe there's everything bad. You can't believe anything good could happen. It's really hard to deal with the positive people around you. They can be frustrating. And so when you move into a positive mindset yourself, using gratitude perhaps as your way, now your own mind opens up, your own intuition opens up, the possibilities that you see around you start seeing like, gee, I could do this, or wait a second, I can do that. Oh, what if I combine this and this? Then I could that. And your mind just is rich with possibility. You're open to receiving new learnings. You can more easily recognize red flags. When we are in a negative mindset, we're sometimes blind to what our own, because red flags are your own intuition speaking to you. And so we are sometimes blind to our own intuition, telling us, this is not a good idea. This person maybe not a smart choice. Wait a second, better go a different direction. And we ignore it. So when you're in a positive mindset, a high vibration, you're more open, you listen to your own intuition, and you create inspired actions to move toward your goals. If you are single and want to find better partners, here's a clue. Change to a higher vibration and you automatically attract people who also have higher vibration. You want better quality people in your life? Become a better quality person yourself. Be a higher vibration person yourself. And you will attract those people that are open and thinking and moving forward and have great ideas. So understand how to change your energy vibe, and it's going to give you more control about what's happening in your life. So step 1 in raising your energy vibration is to recognize where you are at any given time. So you might want to take and make a picture. You go online and find a chart like this, or know that there's a bunch of different versions of this kind of vibration chart. So you might make a print of this and go put it on the front of your refrigerator. And every time you go to the refrigerator, check in with yourself and say, what am I feeling? Where am I on this chart? Oh, I'm down here in apathy. Okay, well, I want to improve that. All right, let me think about how I'm going to improve that. So step 1 is to become aware of where are you at any given time. Ask yourself how you're feeling. And I often suggest that people put a copy of this chart on their refrigerator so that they start becoming familiar with how they feel and words for it. If you can name the emotion, the more specific you can name it, and actually, give 2, 3, 4 words for, gee, I'm not just feeling sad, I'm feeling sad and discouraged and hopeless. And if you can name a number of those, once you're able to name the emotion, you can then deal with it. If you just say, I don't feel good, okay, how do you deal with that? But if you say, I'm feeling sad and discouraged, okay, well, what is it that's making me feel sad? Let me think about that. Then I can work with it. I can do something with it. So you can Google to get different varieties of this vibration chart and then become more familiar with how am I feeling and name it as often as possible. So that's step one, is to become aware of where you are. Step two, identify the blocks that are creating the negativity in your life. What are your negative thoughts? Do you have that worst case scenario kind of thinking where you're just sure bad things are going to happen? And you always come up with a worst case scenario? What are your limiting beliefs behind those thoughts? Do you believe you're never going to succeed? What are the beliefs that drive the thoughts, that drive the emotions? You can ask your intuition to help you identify your blocks and then write them in the journal. So it literally goes, beliefs are at the lowest level, deep in closest to our unconscious, our beliefs, then our thoughts, then our emotions, and then our actions and our results. So the more that you can stop yourself and say, gee, I'm feeling this emotion. Okay, what is the thought that's driving that? What is the belief underneath that? You can literally do your own therapy by doing this, by connecting with yourself. Step three, once you know what your negative thoughts and emotions and the underlying limiting beliefs are, you can consciously reframe them into positive ones. As a coach, this is often what I help my clients do. It's a combination of release and a mindset shift. When you make that shift, you will automatically move from victim to victor on that issue and move up the vibration chart. Learning to manage your energy vibration will help you expand your options and attract more success in your life. As you learn to use this process, you can have more of what you want in all areas of your life, health, wealth, and relationships. So a reframe goes like this. So I realize that I'm feeling discouraged. Okay, what is the thought? The thought is, I screwed up at work today. And my belief underneath that is I'm going to get in trouble. Something's not going to work out well for me. Okay, so I want to change that. Okay, let me change that. I don't know that my boss is angry at me. Maybe my boss is going to be understanding. Maybe my boss has had a similar experience. And maybe when I go in and explain what happened, can you hear me reframing it, that there's a different possibility? That's what a reframe is. It's looking at the situation and saying, well, what are other possible options? What are other ways this could be seen? Reframe it from a negative to a positive. Okay. So I have shared 4 different tools. This is a sample of our relationship masterclass that I mentioned to you at the very first. The relationship masterclass is a 5-session workshop. You get to do it at your own speed. It's all online. You can do it. You can repeat a session if you want to. You can stop, take notes, and then play if you want to. It's in your control to be able to learn what you want. Now, I've given you 4 tools today that can all make a big shift in your life and help you be more successful. The masterclass has over 20. I counted them up and I stopped at 20. It's more than 20 different tools that you can use that are all tools that you can put to work immediately to be able to help you be more successful in all areas, health, wealth, and relationship in your life. So I believe that $397 actually is a steal of a deal. That's a heck of a good deal to be able to improve your health, wealth, and relationships. Well, here's some of what's involved in that class. You're going to receive 5 60 to 90-minute online classes. You're going to learn to use positive motivation to move toward what you want in life. You're going to learn how to live authentically instead of some watered down version of yourself, which is more fun. You're going to be able to move from blame and shame around intimacy, sex, and connection to confidence and freedom. How would it be if you have a romantic relationship and you feel confident and free to be your authentic self in that relationship. That's what you can learn. You can discover your own intuition and how to follow it instead of someone else's rules. I don't believe in doing other people's rules. And by the way, as a coach, I won't tell you what to do. I will help you find your own answers as to what to do. And you will create inspired actions to move confidently toward your goals. You can get access to our Facebook group where you can interact with other students and ask questions. And I'm in our Facebook group all the time. And if I see your question in there, I'll go in and I'll answer them myself. So for $397, that's a heck of a good deal. That's 5 of those that you can repeat as often as you want, take notes, be able to get so much information to help you move forward, to be more successful. Well, so here's how you sign up for it. You can either use the QR code or this code, the bit.ly code that's written at the bottom. Now, Cami mentioned earlier that she and I are good friends. We have worked together for quite a few years. And when she asked me if I would do a program for her, I wanted to do something for her followers too. And so I'm going to tell you that this $397 workshop, which is in 5 parts, for Cami's followers, people who are watching this today, it's only $37.
Wow.
Now, that is a no-brainer, people. $37 for 5 different of these workshops that have more than 20 different tools that you can use. This is a phenomenal deal. This is, oh my goodness, heck yes. I definitely want this. Who wouldn't? That's for Cami's followers. And to be able to get that price, besides going to the bit.ly link or to the QR code, you need a code, a coupon code to be able to reduce the price. And this is the code. Cami. Because it's for Cami's people. So when you go to the place to register, it's going to ask you, do you have a coupon code? Just put in Cami, all capital, CAMI. Put that in there and you'll see the price drop from $397 to $37.
And full disclosure, folks, I'm not getting paid for that. I'm just doing this because she is such a good friend. And I have stayed at Angeline's house 3 times, maybe over the last 10 years. Remember we took that train ride up the California coast at that one event that we met at. We had like 4 or 5 of us in a hotel room at Joel Bauer's event. And so we've known each other a long time. She's the real deal.
And so is Cami. So to be able to get this, just go either put in bit.ly or the QR code, and then when it asks for the coupon code, put in Cami. Now I'm going to tell you, earlier I mentioned that you can get our book, our Gorillas Make Great Lovers book. At the bottom of that registration, there's going to be a little place where you can check the box. If you check the box, you can receive the digital download of the book for $4.95. Heck of a deal. So you can get the program for $37, and for an additional less than $5, you can get a copy of our Amazon best-selling book. So I encourage you to do that. Okay, any other questions or comments, Cami, that
we've got a couple of friends that came over from Facebook that are in on our Zoom here. If you ladies have any questions, if you even want to just unmute yourself, you've got the expert on relationships here. It's funny, when Angeline and I met, I was doing a lot of coaching on business relationships, and she was doing the same thing she's doing now on personal relationships. So I taught her about making phone calls and prospecting in business, and she's helped me with personal. It's interesting. I've always been great at business and not so great at personal. She's great at personal and need a little bit of help with business. So, you know, we all have our thing.
It's true. It's true. So any other questions? As long as I've got this, I'm going to back this up so people can still see that. Oops, I'm going to go the other direction.
Anybody on Facebook, I'm also monitoring questions over there. Feel free to throw any question in that you have. Can you speak just a little bit about boundaries? Because boundaries have always eluded me, really. And people think that I just put my foot down and it's my way or the highway and I set boundaries, but I really don't, I've always had a challenge with that. Can you speak on how that's so important in a relationship?
And it's the question I probably get asked almost the most. Well, the first question I get from women is, well, or statement, I can't find any good men. And then right after that, the next complaint is, I'm terrible at boundaries. My boundaries are a mess, whatever. So here's the thing about boundaries. It's people think that boundaries are about telling the other person, stop doing that. Don't do this. It's not okay with me if you do that. It's not about controlling the other person. Boundaries are about, number one, knowing who you are and how you want to live your life. So if I'm really clear about the woman that I am and what I'm willing to accept and not accept, and that's Brene Brown, she says it's what are you willing to accept or not accept? That's a boundary. For me to live the life that I want to live my way and be the woman that I want to be, that's the first step, is me to get clear about the woman I want to be. And when I'm working with clients, sometimes they go, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I want to be. And so my suggestion is usually think of a woman that you admire. Any woman, someone that you really admire, and write down all the qualities and characteristics of that person. And this is remember the projection, what's in your head? So you're going to notice about that person things that are actually possible for you. And so when you write down a description, well, she's independent and she's career oriented and she's loyal to her man, and I'm naming some of my favorite qualities. Katharine Hepburn, that's my favorite person too, and who's probably way beyond the age of most of you to even know who she is. But when you then use her as a model, whatever woman it is that you admire, and you've got a nice long list of qualities and characteristics of that person, now you can say, okay, such and such is happening around me. What would Katharine do? And it gives you an opportunity, because so many of us are blocked from connecting with our real selves. It gives us an opportunity to say, oh, well, she never put up with this. Okay, so when I won't put up with it, it isn't because I'm going to control the other person. It's going to be because I'm going to say to myself, you know what? I don't listen to this kind of negativity. I don't want to hear this. So when you're ready to talk in more reasonable terms with me, I'd be happy to talk with you. But for right now, I think I'm going to go do a little bit of retail therapy. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to do something else, but I don't want to listen to this. So that's me controlling me based on how I want to live my life. It's not about controlling the other person. Does that help?
It does. And it makes me think, I do think, what would Angeline do? Claudine is a friend of ours who put a comment in that she's having a hard time using the code. She wants to know what she needs to do. The code says it is invalid.
Oh, great. Okay. Then put in this, and let's see if this will work. Put in the number 5 and then the capital letters DAY, 5 day, and see if that works. Because maybe my assistant hasn't gotten this code working for you.
So it's all capitals?
All capitals, the number 5 and then DAY. See if that'll work.
All right, I put it in there. I'm going to put it in Facebook just in case anybody else comes across an issue. 5 day. Use this for a code. And you all can also just reach out to Angeline Hart. She's on Facebook. She's obviously tagged on this video. Oh, she said that worked. Claudine said it worked.
Okay, great. Okay.
But feel free to reach directly out to Angeline with any questions. I know a lot of the times this type of thing is a lot more personal than the business questions I would get. So feel free to reach out. Angeline, you are a dream. You came to me as an angel many, many years ago, first just as a friend, and then doing some collaboration. You helped me through a very difficult time several years ago where I felt like my life was in jeopardy, and you were there for me then. And I'm here to tell you, friends, even she was there when I was looking for a man, and now she's here when I have a man, and I still don't know what to do with myself. So, you know, and she's great about not, for me, I'll speak for myself. I don't feel judged or like I'm doing something wrong. I just haven't been taught. I haven't been taught relationship skills. I did not have an example of married couples that were happy for many years and communicating and working through issues and supporting one another. I had, you know, 3 stepfathers and numerous step siblings, and just not a really great growing up. So sometimes we just need somebody who's been there and done that. If it's a business coach, somebody that's successful in business. If it's a relationship coach, someone who's successful in relationships. You know, all that online dating I did, I saw so many coaches that would come up that were in their 20s, you know, weren't even in a relationship, but they're going to teach you how to find the right man or woman or whatever the situation. And that's why I like to just point out that Angeline is the real deal. Any final thoughts, my friend?
Well, I was just thinking about that because, you know, if these days, if we want to get healthier, we easily go and hire a health coach or a nutrition coach or a physical coach. If we want to improve our finances, we gladly go and hire a finance advisors, you know, someone who knows more than we do about it. But for some reason, we expect ourselves to know how to do relationships when there's been nobody around us that we learn from. And it's skills. It is skills. It is stuff that you can learn and practice and put to work. It is not something that we should expect ourselves to just automatically do, because the majority of us, our experience and the examples that we've had, the majority are going to be examples that didn't work, people that were struggling. I talked to somebody the other day about this, and he said to me, but I don't know anybody that has a happy marriage. What a horrible thought. And yet I think most of us, I'm gonna go off a little bit of a side thing for a minute here, if I may. Here's what I think happens in most relationships. We find somebody and we think, hallelujah, I finally found my person. I finally found that this one looks like it's going to work. I've had enough bad examples and I've had this problem and that problem. This one I think is finally the answer. And so we start out and work together. And things are looking pretty good. And, you know, we get to have sex every night, and then, you know, it's safe sex because he or she is not cheating with somebody else. And we're looking at ways that we're going to, you know, go on vacation, and we're looking at how we're going to build up our income, and we're feeling very positive. And then we get really busy and we're working hard on those careers, and so we're spending a little less time with each other, and we're not dating as often with each other, and then, oh my Lord, we have kids. It's worse and worse. We have almost no time for each other. And if we're even doing our once a week date night, it's just to get out of the house and away from the kids and go someplace and have something different to eat. And it's not the loving, look in each other's eyes, so glad to learn about each other's stuff. We've got this big gap between us now. Well, here's what happens. This is just natural, probably quantum physics. That gap creates a vacuum, and it's going to suck in another energy. And it may be the other energy that it sucks in. And the reason why it does is because as human beings, we are hardwired to need comfort, to need connection, to need acknowledgement, to feel seen and heard. We may fill that gap with watching daytime TV, where we're seeing the illusion of romance, and we watch all the Hallmark movies as we eat a big bag of chips and tell ourselves, you know, really there's somebody out there somewhere who loves me. Or maybe we get into porn, or maybe we start drinking, or some way to comfort ourselves. That's what happens in that gap. And we want to then blame each other and say, well, it's your fault, you're the cheater. Or it's your fault, you never, cook dinner anymore for me. And the reality is both of us are hurting. Both of us are experiencing loneliness and disconnection. Both of us need connection. That, to be able to pull that back together, is not done by blame or shame. Pull that back together is done by understanding. You were talking a few minutes ago about me being non-judgmental. Judgment and blame and shame will not help. It only makes it worse. And so if you have a relationship and you think, you know what, I already went through a bunch of others and that didn't work, and I don't know that I really want to go through trying to find another one. Maybe there's a way I can make this one work. Maybe. Or maybe if there's physical abuse, no. Don't try to make that one work. But the solution is stopping the judgment and really looking at, we're both lonely, we both need support, we both need understanding, we both need acknowledgement. We are human beings and we are hardwired emotionally. That's the answer to that. It's, for the most part, it's not usually go out and find another person. Sometimes it is. I mean, I honestly believe I married the wrong guy in my first marriage. I married the one my mother thought was the best choice. I wasn't listening to my intuition at all. There were so many red flags, and I was just ignoring them all and trusting my mother's brain instead of my own. I picked out the man that I'm married to now. He's not my type. If you go and take the gorilla quizzes, you're going to get a kick out of it. It'd be interesting for you to see which manimal type do you tend to be attracted to and which type have you got and all that kind of stuff. But we have worked to build our relationship. We have used the tools that we share as coaches. We use those tools regularly. I mean, we got in a little tiff the other night. Can't even remember anymore. But the thing of it is, in the first years of our marriage, it might take 3 weeks to get over a tiff because we're both so hurt and upset at each other. And now we've worked through the problems. The big issues are resolved. They're just not there anymore. Gottman, who is a leading researcher and psychotherapist, says that there are some issues in every relationship that are just simply not solvable. Okay, he's got a word for it, but I don't know what it is. And so you need to come to an agreement about that particular thing, whatever it is. Okay, we're going to agree to disagree. And how can we each get our needs fulfilled without forcing the other person to change in some way? So beyond that, beyond those unsolvable ones, and there are some of those, beyond that, it's learning tools. I mean, Dixon and I now, when we have a tiff, it takes minutes for us to resolve it. It's not 3 weeks. I mean, it hates me to remind him of, or he's embarrassed when I tell him that, or when I tell people that in the first 2 years of our marriage, we went on a vacation to Italy. And I'm thinking, yay, Italy, land of romance, and I'm going to love this, it's going to be great. And he has vulnerability issues. All that closeness that I was feeling toward him made him feel too vulnerable. That was too much. And so his way of dealing with it was to create distance. I mean, that's just logical. He created distance and wouldn't speak to me other than, okay, where are we going for dinner tonight kind of stuff for 3 days while we're in Italy. That doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't. We've learned how to resolve our issues. And you can do that too. You can learn the skills, just like you can learn the skills of going to the gym and which machines to work on. And you can learn the skills of how to invest your money, whether you want to be in the market or in bonds or in real estate, or whatever. It's learnable skills. So that's my thought.
Well, amen. It has been a blessing to have you on. This recording is on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and I will be providing the recording to anyone who asks for it. So thank you for being here, and
I'll get my assistant to correct it so that Cami works.
Okay, awesome.
All right, lots of love to you.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.